Hello everyone and welcome back to another New World video. And today in front of me I have the PvP Arena update, or the PTR notes I should say. These have been released early. It's April 28th, it's not even May yet, and they've released them. And now it makes sense why the April update was so lacking in a way, because it's clear that they've been focusing on this for a while now. And we're just gonna look through this. I haven't even seen this, so we're gonna go through this and yeah, let's get through it. So 3v3 player versus player arenas. 3v3 arenas are small scale PvP game mode where teams of 3 can face off for fame, glory, and riches. Plus a few unique housing items. Nice. If you guys don't know why I'm excited, why a lot of people are excited, is because I think that New World small scale PvP in a way shines better than large scale, just because of the AoEs and all the mess that happens. It's not very skill based, or less skill based than small scale, and this seems to pave the way for, towards more competitive PvP game modes, as well as maybe in a ranked mode. I don't know. So it says each arena match is best of 5, which is interesting. We didn't know that. Fight to be the first team to win 3 rounds and secure the match for your team. Rounds are 2 minutes long, but if the battle lingers, a deadly ring of fire will push the players to the center, forcing the combatants to engage or die. Okay, so I don't know why I thought 3v3s were just going to be 1 round. Now it makes more sense that it's best of 5. Players level 20 and above can queue 3v3 arenas by opening the mode. So I'm assuming, okay, I'm assuming that they have a way of either matching up with lower level players or kind of scaling it so everyone has the same, like no one has an advantage, because level 20 is pretty damn low. But that's interesting. I do like that they are adding PvP modes into lower levels, just for fun. People could get a taste of what they can actually go for when they're actually level 60, and it's not just straight up questing. I am actually a big fan of that, as long as they have scaling, because if you don't, that is a mess. So PvP reward track. So we already knew this was coming. I'm assuming it's more like a battle pass type of thing that scales with, or it moves forward with PvP XP. And then we have the Azoth Salt. Okay, so that's the currency that we're gonna have. So players can earn both of these currency types by engaging in PvP related activities such as war, outposts, 3v3 arenas. We have everything PvP. And bonus Azoth Salt will also be granted, earning XP while flagged for PvP. Interesting. So they are going to make flagging more viable in a way, which makes sense. Work your way up the reward track, earning PvP XP. At each of the 3 notches, 3 rewards will be drawn from a pool where you can select or purchase one of the offered using your Azoth Salt. This will either happen automatically on purchase of your 3rd reward or manually selected option. If choosing to purchase less than maximum of 3 rewards, you will be given some of the compensatory salt to add to your balance to your next time around. Okay. With each track, your PvP rank will rise by 1. Hitting rank milestone will see more exclusive reward content unlocked, as well as granting achievements and titles. So you better get PvP. But we're going into new mutators. I didn't think it was going to be this big, but that's interesting. So return to the depths. Guys, we're getting depths. The depths is now part of the weekly mutator rotation. In addition, 3 new mutation types have been added to the pool for a total of 27 new combinations. So there's overgrown, which is nature damage and resistance. Okay, so there's nature damage, resistance. Overgrown adds effects like toxic, a pool that tracks down players, and compost, which turns trash into healing areas for your allies. Barbaric focuses on physical damage, adds berserk, an engage effect, and shattering, which deals stamina damage. Fiendish, curses focus on the nocturnal. Fiendish adds weary, which will weaken players with rend and make them vulnerable with a slow, and blood offering, which stacks damage over time. So these mutations, they definitely do seem to be more engaging than the other ones. But moving on very quickly, it says Varangian Knights episode 2. So it seems like we're actually getting chapter 2 already. Continue the story of the Varangian Knights and their conquest for power. Players will encounter 4 new Varangian enemies in the episode: the Crusher, Spearman, Hound, and Mage. The episode 2 starting quest is granted by Abigail Rose, just outside of the Varangian camp, and at the Sorcerer Dwelve in Everfall. Recommended players level 25 to 30. Combat and AI. So general. Updated the Focus 300 attribute bonus to no longer granting mana regeneration. Instead it grants a flat 8 mana per second for the duration of the effect. So this is for focus players. Couldn't be me. Increase the diminishing returns on subsequent applications of stuns and roots. Duration reduction per application increased from 20% to 50% per application. Max reduction increased from 80 to 100%. Reduce the physical armor increase from 200 constitution. Attribute bonus from 20% to 10%. Updated the 200 constitution attribute bonus tooltip to indicate the bonus is physical armor specifically. Functionality has not been changed, only added text for additional clarity. Added a 1-second delay to stamina regen after a dodge. This delay matches the functionality of stamina regen delay that triggers after releasing block. Removed collision when player is in a death's door drown state. Updated various AoE weapons ability tooltips to include radius information. Updated various weapon ability tooltips to trigger staggers and knockdown effects. Fixed an issue where ranged weapons did not display ammo type and count correctly while obstructed. Reduced the stamina damage increase from 150 strength attribute bonus from 50% to 25%. Also limited the ATB to only apply to light attacks. Reduced stamina damage increase from 150 strength attribute bonus from 50 to 25%, and limited the bonus to just light attacks and not heavies. Updated equip load healing bonus to be multiplicative. Multiplicative. Now all the healing bonuses from equip load, positive or negative, will be added on after all the other calculations have been made, meaning it will have a larger and more consistent impact on healing. Removed medium equip load healing bonus and increased the reduction to healing in heavy equip load. Healing bonus per equip load are now light 30% additional healing, medium 0% additional healing, and heavy minus 30% additional healing. Weapon coatings are no longer removed from weapons when gathering resources. Melee attack homing. Updated the homing on primary attacks for melee weapons. They should now be able to hit moving targets more consistently. Notable bug fixes. Fixed an issue that caused projectiles being shot while in free camera to erroneously calculated projectile directions. Fixed an issue where attacks would activate unintentionally after exiting turrets and other interactable actions. I think I've actually encountered that bug before. Fixed an issue that made it so pressing block or aim would not exit all abilities that have any sort of persistent state. Now when in magic aiming state, entombed, sticky bomb, etc., if block, the aim are inbound to separate keys, players will be able to press either to exit the state. Fix the number of potential desyncs between the client and the server. Huge. Fix positional desync for players using spear light attacks, skewer, or vault kick while moving the camera. Fix positional desync for Warhammer light attacks while moving the camera. Positional for Grey Axe light attacks and while moving the camera. Hatchet heavy attacks while moving the camera. Rapier light and heavy attacks while moving the camera, as well as a sword light and heavy attacks while moving the camera. So a lot of desync fixes. Those are nice. Hopefully they're more on the way. Okay, so general AI. AI will no longer randomly disappear when running away from players. This happens in extremely rare cases. Fix the bug where enemy Banes in Cineb would attack and chase players for a very long distance. Fixed a rare issue that could cause AI to die when rooted during the retreat sequence. Fix the bug where the enemies summoned by other enemies, wolf summoned by an alpha wolf, would have a delay before they would attack. Fixed an issue causing lost brute based characters to sometimes walk in slow motion while patrolling. Fixed an issue causing the Lado villagers from not dealing damage with their charge attacks. Fixed an issue causing the shovel villagers from not dealing damage with their ground pound attack. Fixed an issue that would allow Stanley the rabbit to wander away from players while they are interacting with him. Zygora meets, I don't even know, is fight will no longer reset when players stand on the edge of the arena. Reduce the vision distance of corruption tendrils in breach events to better fit the size of the event and allow the players to disengage from fights at a shorter distance. Fixed an issue that caused lion-based characters to stall if the blunderbuss clawshot attack is used to initiate combat with the creature. Fixed an issue that prevented players at far distances from building threat on AI characters. Fixed an issue preventing some ranged AI characters from approaching and engaging players from extremely long ranges. Fixed a visual issue on the Varangian Mage. fixed the visual issue on the Withered Swarmancer, fixed an issue on the Varangian Knight, fixed the visual issue on Plague Huntress. Okay, so Expedition AI. Fixed an issue allowing certain expedition bosses to improperly regenerate their health after a player is put into death's door. Fixed an issue where expedition bosses would sometimes target players outside of the arena. And then we have Tempest Heart, where they fixed issues that cause the Nashatoon corruption shot to sometimes hit players positioned on his side. Reworked Nashatoon's Corrupted Flames or Corruption Flames and Corruption Core abilities. A Corruption Core will now spawn 3 seconds after Corruption Flame, which should reliably ensure that the cores do not overlap with the frames. Which honestly, I almost saw it as a challenge, but I mean, I guess they fixed it, whatever. Fixed an issue that would cause Isabella to sometimes not face the person she was aiming at. And then we got fixes for the Dynasty Shipyard. Empress Zhao fixed an issue that could cause her Corruption Wave spell to hit outside of the intended area. Fixed an issue that could cause her Corruption Wave spell to hit behind her. Removed the damage from the initial summoning of her Dragon Breath spell. This will now only impact the area that is visually breathed on by the dragon. Reduce the damage of her Pearl Pedestal Toss. Fixed an inconsistency with the leashing behavior of Commander Chen and the 2 maidens standing with him, and the AI guards will now utilize new animations. Now we get into the depths, which we're gonna get a new mutation very soon. Fix an issue that will cause Depths Archdeacon encounter to abruptly despawn hounds on a player entering the death's door. Fixed an issue that could cause Archdeacon Azmela and other corrupted priests rolling corruption spell to kill players at death's door. Fixed several nav mesh spots in Thorpe's arena. Fixed several nav mesh spots in Archdeacon's arena. And then we move on to Lazarus, which they fixed an issue causing Tardis to sometimes target the same player repeatedly with his beam attack. So now mutator fixes. Fix an issue where the blood offering mutator effects were taking an inconsistent amount of times. It should consistently take 3 times now. Reduce the slow effect from the weary mutator effect from 50 to 30%. Fix an issue where player statuses were modifying the damage dealt from the blood offering mutation. Okay, now we move on to game modes, which I'm assuming they're either balances or fixes to specific game modes. So the invasions gets 1 line. The boss AI in invasions are no longer impacted by Gravwell. Now we move on to Outpost Rush. So OPR consumables now have a max stack size of 100. It was 10 before. Increase the quantity of items granted when gathering trees, ores, rawhide resources. Increase the speed at which items are gathered by 30%. Added armories to each fort spawn. Tuned capture point timing. Minimum time is now 10 seconds, which was 30 seconds before. And each player reduces the time to capture by 10 seconds. Reduced skinning experience granted by OPR wolves. Players can now shoot projectiles through their own spawn doors, which gives more incentive to actually get the doors, which is really good. Players now get credit for kills inflicted by damage over time attacks. OPR resources counter will now directly reset after a match is completed. Moving on to war. They have reworked several faction control point bonuses to provide more relevant bonuses. For example, Fort Reekwater now grants 5% bonus PvP experience. Very interesting. Speculative fix for fort area not being restricted properly during some wars. Moving on to perk, Critical Retribution, which fixed an issue where the tooltip cooldown were not shown the accurate value. Efficient Burnout fixed an issue where the buff applied by these perks was using a debug text. Elemental Attunement fixed an issue where this perk was not triggering of all the abilities. Elemental Attunement updated the tooltip to add clarification as to why it may not work off certain abilities. Elemental Damage Gems fixed an issue that caused certain abilities to have their total damage lowered when these gems were equipped. Freedom fixed an issue where this was not specifying that it affected root. It removed Silence from tooltip, as the only silence currently present in the game are AoEs and their duration cannot be modified. Gathering Efficiency increased the effectiveness of the perk from 5% to 20%, 25 to 100, and updated the tooltips to indicate that the speed increase is a percent of the base speed rather than total. Insatiable Gravwell fixed an issue where this perk was triggering 2 instances of damage. Fixed an issue where the perk was triggering 2 instances of damage. Reduced the damage of the burst from 125 to 100%. Reduced the lifesteal amount from 20% to 50% based on the gear score, to 15% to 35% based on the gear score. Reduce the block stamina damage of the secondary burst player to prevent the double trigger of this effect from being too powerful against blocking players. And then we move on to Keen Vault Kick, which fixed an issue that allowed the Vault Kick to apply to buff associated this perk when the perk was not equipped. Mortal Empowerment fixed an issue where the player could bring the empower bonuses into the other game modes. Nullifying Oblivion fixed an issue where the perk would remove effects from persistence AoEs. Play Crits fixed a spelling error in the description. Fixed an issue where the perk's description as it appears in the trading post. Fixed an issue where the perk was only applying to random crits and not the headshots and the backstabs, as well as fixing the spelling error in the description. Phylon Burst fixed an issue where the AoE burst from this perk would not be blocked. And finally, we have Transient Rend fixed an issue where the debuff applied was incorrectly labeled as Frost Attunement. And then we have Consumable Fixes fixed an issue where the debug string was present in the Ancient Ward Potion status effect tooltips. Fixed an issue where Cleansing Elixir was not properly removing certain status effects applied by the Ice Gauntlet and the Fire Staff abilities. Dodges, roots, and slows. So dodging is now allowed while rooted. Players will not move while rooted, but they will have invulnerability frames. Being slow will now affect the movement of your dodge. If you're slowed and you dodge, you will now move less distance based on the power of the slow. Ice Shower, Ice Storm, and Gravwell will no longer disable dodging. Okay, now we get to the juicy stuff, which is the balances. So we have the weapons. We have first the Blunderbuss, which adjusted the dodge buffer window for the ADS firing animation to be more consistent with the firing animations. Blunderbuss charges now show correctly when firing while obstructed, returns to the normal reticle. Fixed an issue where players could become unresponsive if they try to aim and go prone at the same time while the Blunderbuss is in hand. And then they have Azoth Bomb, which they fixed a typo in the ability description. Barbed Netting. The abilities visual and descriptions have been updated to make it clear that the debuff being applied is bleeding and not poison. Freedom. This upgrade's speed bonus will no longer decay over time. Its duration will be reduced from 3 seconds to 2 seconds to compensate. Future Planning. This passive now triggers per mortar charge shot instead of activation. Mortar Charge fixed an issue where this ability was incriminating the Blood Offering curse in mutators too many times in a single use. Fixed an issue where the VFX from this skill could disappear prematurely. Splitting Grenade fixed an issue which caused a desync when moving immediately after using this ability. Fixed an issue where crit hits from this ability would not deal additional damage. Okay, moving on to the bow, which I am excited about as a bow user. Okay, so reduced recovery on basic attacks, fixed ability cancels on basic attacks, increased projectile radius on all attacks except penetrating shot, added cancel windows, weapons readying animation. Players can now sprint cancel when lowering their weapons, added missing cancel buffers when lowering weapons, poison shot, penetrating shot now use the same fire cancel inputs as rain of arrows, reduced hipfire startup and recovery, and increased movement speed while hip firing from 1.65 seconds to 2.25 seconds. Reduced hipfire multiplier from 0.8 to 0.6. Reduced charge shot damage multiplier from 1.7 to 1.5. Reduced charge time and recovery for charge shots. Reduced power of the bow's aim true passive from 30% to 10%. Although I would like to give my opinions here, I'm probably going to make a separate video on that, so if you're interested, definitely stick around. But right now, I'm just reading these notes for you guys. So moving on to the Fire Staff, Burnout. We fixed an issue which caused desync when moving immediately after using the ability. Meteor Shower increased casing range from 15 meters to 20 meters, increased damage from 20% to 25% weapon damage. Judgment of Helios increased damage from 25 to 30% weapon damage. Pillar of Fire, this ability now allows movement during casting animations. Okay, apologies if the audio sounds different. I'm just moving the mic closer to my mouth because I don't feel like talking that loud anymore and my throat really hurts. So we're just going to continue like this. Okay, now we have Whirlwind, increased base movement speed while spinning from 3 seconds to 3.5 seconds. Gusting Winds, increased speed bonus from 50 to 100%. Fixed an issue where the upgrade names Gusting Winds, which is a speed upgrade, and Unending Winds, which is more spins, were swapped. And then we get the Hatchet where Berserk Purge fixed an issue where this upgrade would not properly remove stuns if used too soon after the stun was applied. And then we get to the Ice Gauntlet. Ice Storm fixed an issue that caused the ability to go down in cooldowns when the spell was interrupted during aim mode. Ice Pylon damage increased from 50% to 75% weapon damage. Another ice pylon, health increased from 12% to 20% of players' health. Ice shower updated the tooltip for this ability to include cooldown on the reapplication of the root effect. Then we got Life Staff, fixed an issue with light attacks, canceling healing target. Sticky lock was enabled, fixed an issue that caused targeted healing to attempt to lock the target beyond the range of the healing spells. Cleaned up animations and fixed missing visuals and sounds when self-healing. Targeted heals. These abilities now allow movement while casting. Light's Embrace. They increase the cast time to 1 second, and they reduce the bonus healing per buff from 30 to 15%. Then we got a hefty amount of lines for the musket. So they fixed the bug where the impact effects for the musket may have played even if the server invalidated the client's shot. Hit your mark passive. It updated the description to clarify that the passive only works for standard musket shots and not the overload shots, which are the power shots and the powder burn. Marksman passive, it was fixed. There was an issue that was fixed where overloaded shots would not count towards the number of consecutive hits. Shooter stance, fixed an issue where the musket would fire unintentionally in shooter stance with the tactical reload passive. Sticky bomb, fixed an issue where the bomb would disappear without detonating when it attached to objects that were destroyed. Fixed an issue where the musket was not being removed from the player's hand for remote client while loading the sticky bomb. Powdered burn, fixed an issue where attempting to fire powdered burn while prone would fire power shots instead. And then we have the trap, which they cleaned up several visible aspects for better readability and effect matching. Increased the model size of traps in order to make it more visible to match the size of the trigger volume. Updated the animation timing to match the trap appearance. Adjusted the projectile arc and speed to make throwing feel smoother and make the trap land closer to the reticle position. And then we move on to the rapier, which Tondo increased bleed damage from 7% to 10% weapon damage per tick. Riposte, fixed an issue where riposte could be triggered by abilities from players that had AoE taunts active. And then we have the spear, where deadly consistency, fixed an issue where perks deal extra damage such as keenly jagged and chain could reset the count for this passive. Increase the shape sizes for basic attacks, skewer, perpetrate, coup de grace. Increase the homing of coup de grace. Sword and shield, leaping strike, fixed an issue where this ability was triggering 2 stacks of the blood offering mutator effect. Void gauntlet, refreshing frailty, added a 5-hit cap per attack on cooldown reduction. Refreshing precision, reduced cooldown reduction from 10% to 5%, added a 5-hit cap per attack on cooldown reduction. Void Blade, reduced the block stamina damage multiplier from Void Blade's heavy attack from 2 to 1.5. Increased the scream root duration from 1 second to 2 seconds. Then we have the Warhammer, which they fixed Path of Destiny, where they fixed an issue where crits were not dealing increased damage. Reduced damage of non-crits from 110% to 100% to account for the additional damage from crits. And then we have economy and progression, where they put the notable fixes. Barbarian Scarf no longer clips with new chest. Fixed the visual issue for Cape of the Stormbound apparel. Empress Zhao's embroidered tunic apparel, engineer set apparel, heavy smile apparel, Isabella's chestplate apparel, Jadate dragon apparel, Jadate dragon dragon apparel, Knight of Devotion apparel, Mixer's set apparel, Moonborn apparel, Nishatune's breastplate apparel, Obelisk Priest's robe apparel, Red Ripping Hood apparel, Reinforced Shatter Heavy Gauntlet of the Century apparel, Skinner Shirt apparel, Starbound apparel, Stormbound apparel, Varangian chestplate apparel, Winter Wonder cloak apparel, and that seems to be all the apparels. Added missing cores for the Depths, Ice, and Void gauntlets. Fixed VFX for Draconian Edge when gems apply. Fixed VFX on Twin Beasts with the gems applied. Fixed Gleaming Pitch Great Axe VFX. Fixed issues where the player would unintentionally spin after leaving romantic swooning crouch interaction. Updated the punching animation to have footsteps. Fixed an issue where the player's leg would jitter during the tree pose emote. Fixed an issue where the player's ankles would bend incorrectly during the ballerina emo. Fixed the rotation of the Fire's Breath Fire Staff that it's facing the correct orientation. Move on to gear and items. Fix an issue where the background kite shield where portions of the data were for a round shield. Fix an issue where the blunderbuss last argument was incorrectly labeled as a musket. World experience. So there were notable fixes. Fixed a visual pop on Ghost Ship. It updated the Ghost Ship to have sound effects when it can be seen in a distance. Fixed an issue where the ancient door sometimes being invisible in Skyview repose. Fixed an issue where the unintentional VFX were displaying at the feet of the enemies which were hit. Addressed an issue where players were able to stack housing furniture much taller than the property limits in First Light Settlement. Updated the SFX to play the appropriate sound when AI are mining and chopping wood. And then we have more expedition notes. So the Tempest Heart performed an audio pass for the music with the Tempest Heart expedition. Updated the Isabella's voiceover to sound better with the dungeon's acoustics. Updated the Nishatune's last VO line to play smoothly when players have defeated him. Updated the Nishatune's corruption SFX to better suit the experience. Fixed collision issues in the corrupted graveyard players were getting stuck in. Fixed collision issues for Sea of Corruption that players were getting stuck in. Fixed additional collisions with Isabella's boss fight arena. Fixed additional collisions with the Nishatune's boss fight arena. Remove some collisions that allow players to climb out of the tendril of corruption. Updated key lighting within Basilica, so the lower spec PCs still received casting shadows. And then we have Dynasty Shipyard, where players can no longer circumvent the gate entrance to get into Isabella's fight. Garden of Genesis fixed an area where players could move out of bounds. Removed collisions on objects that allowed for healing outside of the Greenskeeper arena. Adds spawned during the Caretaker encounter should now properly die when the Caretaker dies. Then we have Lazarus, where they blocked off exploit path, allowing players to safely heal near Chartis' arena. Fixed an issue that caused Tolos and Asteros to respawn after the expedition was completed. Fixed collision on a ledge that allowed players to climb up onto the unintended area. Made lighting adjustments to minimize flashing lights in certain areas. Then we have Starstone, where they fixed collision where players were getting stuck. Then we have fixes for quests, which they fixed issues where the wrong VO line for Yona Alazar's quest, the Alliance, would play. Fixed blank spaces in formatting quest and journal text for Master of Tempest. And my voice is almost gone, but we have UX, UI, social, where we have notable fixes. Fixed an issue where main menu lost sound effects where entering the game and exiting back into the main menu. Fixed an issue where players could remain crouched or prone while moving with the inventory. Fixed an issue with camping available notifications overlapping. Fixed the solid black backgrounds on icons. Fixed an issue where reward container UI would show that you have gained expertise for 600 gear score item when you have already hit 600 gear score. Fixed an issue where duplication chain lightning perks were appearing in the trading post perk selection list. And then we have quality of life, where it says we now show error messages when attempting to pick up items when character inventory is already at maximum limit. Added the ability to change skills and spend skill points based on whether the player is in or out of the combat instead of blocking when players had ability on cooldown. Added the tooltip to explain how to increase mana regen on the attribute menu. Added new visuals to the ultimate ability in the weapon mastery screen to clarify that 10 perk points were needed to unlock it. Added the ability to rotate the camera with the map open by holding the right mouse button. Added the mutator difficulty level to always be shown in the HUD for players and Twitch viewers. The daily mission bonus UI should now always update properly, even if you have the faction mission window open when it resets. Disabled opening reward containers when your inventory is full. The left side list no longer resets after crafting an item. This should help with choosing to craft again. Improve player feedback when choosing between different weapon abilities. Added notification and effect to celebrate salvaging items. We now hide trading post contracts for invalid items in the search browser. Changing blunderbuss damage to reflect per pellet damage will now show base damage of 6 times. And then we have some translations, which at this point I'm feeling lightheaded. You guys can read it. It's right here. I don't think not a lot of people are actually interested in this, so I guess it's just some text fixes, so you guys could go ahead and read that if you're interested. But we finally move on to the audio, which is the last portion of this PTR note. It says fix several VO issues impacting the following NPCs: Architect Nali, Barkeep Cecilia Polly, Evelyn Van Heck, Father Russo, Samuel Bloodgood, and The Heretic. Fixed mismatched French VO and subtitles for Hunter Samuel Washington Bloodgood III. Jeez. Updated Isabella's localization VO that triggers prior to the final encounter to be easier to hear. Fixed major portal and minor hive spawning sounds. Updated the scrying table decor item to play sound effects when the player interacts with it. Updated the Earthshell turtle sound effect to match the other magical creatures in volume. Updated the Blunderbuss net shot and claw shot abilities to not have a ringing metallic sound. Updated the Shattered Bleed sound effect to be easier for players to hear. Added the ambient sound effect to play when players are low health. Resolved an issue where boss music would not continue playing after a player was revived. However, when a player respawns after death's door, boss music will no longer continue to play in order to avoid music from restarting from the very beginning. Updated the distance from where players can hear elk breathing, and added sound effect to artillery dial housing item. And that is the end of the patch notes. My voice is gone, but I am excited. I don't know how long this is going to take to get out, so I'm going to focus on this, but I will be bringing some content from the PTR since, you know, it's 3v3 and it's kind of exciting. So we'll see what happens, but that is it for now. They're possibly going to add more updates to this PTR note. Although I'm not sure it's going to be as impactful. I will go over it if it is. Definitely keep an eye out for that. But other than that, I'm going to take some cough medicine, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.